Good morning, Drew! What do we have to do to get you to upgrade to the iPhone 16 Pro Max with 1 terabyte of storage, brown titanium?
I don't know. It's fine. Like, the 15 Pro works and everything, but I kind of like what Google's doing over in Pixel Town now.
Are you switching to Team Pixel? Who contacted you? Did Google add you back?
No, not yet, but I'm just kind of happy with what I have.
I don't understand those words even a little bit, but I'm trying to figure out exactly what we could do that would get you to upgrade.
Okay, I guess I'll have to pitch to you my dream phone concept.
Oh yeah, we'd love to hear about your dream iPhone.
Well, I said dream phone, not necessarily iPhone.
That'll make for a great video. Dream iPhone. I can't wait to see the iPhone dream wish list happen.
It's, there's a letter there you're adding. Let's begin.
So somehow this won the member poll. I don't know why you guys were voting for it, but
I guess people have been asking me to describe kind of like my ideal smartphone situation, and there's probably more than one I could think of. On one hand, I really wish Apple would make a Pro mini iPhone, but I feel like that's not happening, and to try to keep this video somewhat relevant, I'll probably lean into more of a realistic scenario, like a phone that abides by the laws of physics. It's like anybody could come up with a wish list that's like, we have an infinite battery life thanks to an arc reactor in the back, and I can travel through time with the phone. No, I'm trying to actually make up a concept for this video that could be achieved using today's science and technology. So, because of that, I'm actually gonna be leaning towards a bigger phone, alright? We're talking super ultra-thin bezels that enable a 7-inch display. Sure, it could be 6.9 inch or whatever, but still, we're going big for today's video with a ginormous phone that has a Pixel-style visor camera on the back. Specifically because, whether you have a case or not, this thing is not gonna wobble. I can't stand the wobbling on my phone, and I'd really like to have a phone that can do everything I need with an amazing camera system on the back that gets rid of the wobble. So if the camera's not gonna be a visor on the back, at least get rid of the camera bump through some magical engineering. We could have a ginormous battery pack on the inside. Honestly, I'd be fine with 5,000, 6,000 milliamp hours. We're going big with this phone. We're not trying to be small and compact and portable because I have a lot of functionality that I would like to build into this device. For one, yeah, let's give 50 megapixel sensors to all of the lenses. The main sensor is going to look fantastic. The ultra wide is also still going to be super sharp, and the telephoto lens is also going to let me punch in a lot. Sure, let's go up to 20x or 30x optical zoom. The display hides all of the front-facing camera and Face ID sensors while still having an ultrasonic fingerprint reader on the front. So if you want to use the fingerprint, you can. Or if you want to use a hide true depth camera system for face unlock, you can. I like the idea of having both. And in this scenario, we've completely eliminated notches, camera holes, stuff like that. It's just a full screen display. Of course, this one can go up to, screw it, 144 hertz instead of 120, just because it has that much of a competitive edge. And similar to the Apple Watch Ultra, this thing could peak at 3000 nits when in direct brightness. So a super bright display that can also get super, super dim. Personally, I would prefer having the volume buttons on one side and the power button on another. You can throw in an action button if you want in there, but at this time I don't look at the capture button or any digital assistant buttons as necessities. But I personally like having the volume and power buttons on opposite sides of the phone. It just results in less accidental button pushing in my experience. Of course, it would have USB-C. In this case, my phone would have Thunderbolt 4, which I'll get into why in a minute, with ultra fast charging technology. Like, it could easily go up to 100 watts just because the power system is that good. But I would also really appreciate a vapor chamber or some kind of passive or active cooling system in place while of course still retaining water resistance. I would want this thing to be submersible for hours and hours at a time. Again, we're in wish list territory here, but the important thing is that it can keep itself cool. Even if I wanted to record videos with it, edit videos on it, export videos on it, and do a ton of stuff in the background, all without the phone overheating, even if it's in direct sunlight. So however it's able to achieve that, whether it's through vapor chamber or some other tech, yes, I think there should be more cooling systems built into our phones. Hopefully, it could also run cooler by having a very, very efficient ARM architecture on the inside. Maybe it's down to 2 nanometers or 1 nanometer, so it gets a lot of performance without having to pull a lot of power from the battery. And of course, the works and all that, stereo speakers would be nice. A 48 megapixel front-facing camera would also be sick. Give it the best haptic engine possible, but I'd also be totally okay with an aluminum chassis, even if they just made part of the middle of the phone glass, simply so that you could still have your wireless charging charging and MagSafe compatibility and all that. But the rest of it could be made out of an aluminum to make it more durable and also lighter weight, because aluminum's lighter than glass. And also aluminum does a much better job dissipating heat compared to the premium materials that they always put in these higher end phones, whether it be steel or titanium. They literally just do it because they think it makes it more premium. In reality, there's, in my opinion, objectively no advantages to using titanium or steel on a phone. Aluminum is the best material, and I want it in a matte finish. No glossiness on this thing at all. Of course, I also want it to be comfortable in the hand, so I'd appreciate a more rounded chassis, particularly on the back, with a more flat glass on the front so that you get less light refractions. And yeah, it's like ceramic shield or whatever. It's super durable glass. But then coming back to the port itself, because it's Thunderbolt, some of you may be wondering that's kind of overkill on a phone. The read and write speed of the NANDs are going to limit you, not the throughput of that port. Well, it's because I actually want a way for this phone to run macOS. At least at this time, macOS, in my opinion, is the best desktop operating system for video editing and live streaming and everything that I use my Mac for. And what I really love the idea of, while we're in hypothetical territory here, talking about the A22 Pro chip, hopefully by the time they're able to build chips that are that efficient and that advanced, a few years down the road, it will actually be capable of running macOS natively. And the only question is, can you connect a keyboard and mouse to this phone and plug it into an external monitor? So that's where the Thunderbolt connectivity would really start to pay off, because you gotta move files through that port, and I would want to dock it with an external monitor that has additional I/O, so I could import footage through SSDs while still being able to output, you know, like a high resolution, high frame rate external monitor. And I would want, I guess, while we're in dream territory here, an external monitor that actually has MagSafe right at the top of the back, so that I could snap my phone in the portrait position right to the back of the phone, so that it's mounted in a position that the amazing rear-facing cameras of this phone could be utilized as the webcam. And because it's a 48 megapixel sensor, you could utilize the ultra-wide and still have a lot of rich detail when cropping in. And of course, you're plugging the phone into the external monitor anyway, so that's going to keep the phone powered. It doesn't have to use its own battery life, and hopefully that vapor chamber can keep it cool. And then I would have a Mac that I could essentially bring with me everywhere. I guess that's the use case I'm kind of interested in, because I have a job down in the Bay Area, and I think it would be really sweet if I could film a bunch of super great video content for that job and edit it while I'm there with an external monitor that I could just dock the phone to the back of, have a keyboard and mouse already connected, edit the footage without having to airdrop footage or transfer files off of the phone and onto the Mac. No, instead, the footage is just recorded onto my Mac in the first place. And there's some software compatibility that, of course, would be necessary in this situation as well. Like, I would want to be able to take the phone off of the monitor and still be able to use my phone in its mobile OS mode, so that I can make video thumbnails, utilize machine learning features like subject lift, and I can design the thumbnail while it is still powering that external monitor in macOS mode or something like that. Now, if Google really beefed up Chrome OS and made it better for live streaming, better for pro class software, and even started making an advanced video editing software specifically for YouTubers that could build in a lot of YouTube features directly into their own dedicated app, then maybe it wouldn't be macOS that I'd be looking for. Maybe it would be a Google Dex-like feature. So I tried to keep the features of this video intentionally somewhat vague, because I'm still on the fence about whether or not I want to stay on Team iOS, or if I want to pursue what Google is cooking up over with the Pixel phones, which are just getting really, really good these days. There's a lot of things about the Pixel 9 I like, and I'm really excited to review it and try it out, hopefully in the not too distant future. But the phone I end up choosing is going to have to abide by all of the wishes and all of the things that I pitched in this video. I'm probably not going to get everything exactly the way I want, of course, but it just comes down to which company is going to prioritize the features I'm most interested in. And you could probably tell from this video that there were a lot of things I requested that are Pixel features, while there's still a lot of things I listed that are iPhone features. So every year, both these companies copy more and more from each other. So here's hoping that Apple listens or Google listens and my dream phone actually becomes a reality. But what's your guys' dream phone? What things are you looking for feature-wise with your cameras, your batteries, your displays? Is it important for it to fold in half? Do you want solar panels on the back? All those crazy ideas, feel free to drop them down in the comments below. And thank you to everybody supporting this channel directly. Seriously, helps us out a ton, as does just watching these videos. So thanks again. This is your Apple Sheep here, and I will see you all in the next one.